FANBOY Modeling School.
But we're going to get into some crazy shit right now. Mantis, who'd you pick originally for this fight? Now, I'm not talking Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou.
Well, you know how I feel about Stipe, and for not getting canceled, I'm not going to talk about it here on this podcast.
We have another podcast on Anchor that you can listen to.
It's called The Fat Mantis Gets Canceled. Well, let me just say for the UFC fight, the better heavyweight one. But going on, in terms of the fight we're really talking about, which is clearly Godzilla versus Kong, I was firmly at the start of this, firmly in the Godzilla camp.
Right. I have since day one. I'm not even talking about this movie, Mantis. I'm talking about the original Kong versus Godzilla. You ever see that movie?
Yes, I have. Where they're wearing the suit, the guy in the monkey suit. And I freaking love it with the tree.
Yes.
When he takes the tree and he shoves it down his throat. It's just so ridiculous. I was hoping that would happen in this.
Dude, I've ever since I was a small child and I saw that, and then King Kong's hands became electrified, and that's how he beat Godzilla, and I was just like, what? Doesn't make any sense. I'm literally telling you.
I thought they were going to do that too.
Since I was a kid, watching old Godzilla films, even Godzilla 1984, where I'm like, this thing is at the top of the friggin' food chain. Aliens can't beat it. Corporations can't beat him.
They've sent waves of armies and robots and all sorts of. There were mystical fairies in the original Godzilla, and they could not beat him. They're doing magic and stuff.
Yeah.
And Godzilla's just like, whatever. I am the king of monsters.
Dude, the crazy part about it was I brought all of that in with me, folks. It's called transference. It's a psychological term that describes someone who projects their feelings onto a situation. But I was Team Godzilla this whole time, goddammit. And I told you, if that friggin' chimp with an axe somehow manages to beat him, I'm going to be upset. But I picked Godzilla. Now let's get into the plot.
There was a plot? You know what it is? There was a plot, and I blocked it out because it's so ridiculous.
So, I mean, the plot usually has to pick someone to typecast as the hero. This was definitely more of a Kong movie than it was a Godzilla movie. There was definitely...
Kong was absolutely the protagonist. They did everything to make you like him.
Yes. And
to feel like he should win.
Yes.
And they kind of made it seem like because he's underpowered, you should like him more because Godzilla's a bully. That's what they did. They pulled the bully card right there.
They definitely did. You know what else was pretty interesting? So I love the opening scene when they open up. Okay. I loved it, but it fell flat in areas. But I'll start with the positive. I love that they open up with Skull Island with the music showing Khan walking around. And, he's just doing his thing, grabs a tree, and he just rips the branches off. And I'm like, oh, was he going to scratch his ass with that thing? What's next with that? Goes over to his little friend. They have a little moment. She shows him the doll, and he's like, oh, that's awesome. Get me out of this place. Flings the tree right into the dome. The problem with these movies, and you tell me what you think, man, is always the human element. I can honestly say there is not one part of any of these movies that has to do with the monsters. Actually, I think it was better with Kong Skull Island. I actually enjoyed most of the human dialogue.
Those humans were a great part because it was like Sam Jackson. And actually, I would say that's Brie Larson's best picture. She was very likable in that movie.
Absolutely.
But she's a photographer or whatever. You're right. All of these sucked. Actually, I will say both this and in King of Monsters, I liked Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown is the young lady from
she's the girl from Stranger Things.
Yes.
I wish they had given more scenes to her and less to some of these idiots because there's actually a bunch of humans you can write out and no one would notice.
So I forget the guy's name, the portly black fellow that is the scientist. He's actually a really good actor. And
watch Atlanta?
Yeah, so he's actually a really good actor.
He's great.
And then watch him and the young lady from Stranger Things have their little moment. The only thing that sucked about that scene was the New Zealand kid. And I like that kid.
Fire Fist from Deadpool. Yeah. I'm Fire Fist. Look, so here are the characters I would get rid of.
Okay.
And if you guys haven't noticed already, spoiler alert, we're going to take everything. So, the female scientist that was raising the girl after her parents died had no purpose to be in the story whatsoever.
None.
She should not have had lines or anything or going in there. The Fire Fist.
Yes.
Billy Bobby could have driven to see the conspiracy theory guy on her own. She didn't need her sidekick.
Yeah.
As also her dad. There's no reason for them to keep going back to her dad. Her dad is an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's like, she goes on this long adventure, and then they cut to him, and he's like, "Where's my daughter?" And he checks his texts, and then it cut away, and I'm like, "Why did you bother me with this scene?" He is absolutely useless motherfucker.
Yeah, and here's the thing that sucks about that, right? So the dialogue and the actual storytelling doesn't lend itself well because of those useless characters, right? So we have this opening scene that could have started off extremely well, and then it moves into useless exposition. All right, so we got to get Kong off the island. Here comes a guy from True Blood. The CEO of Apex is an evil cliche villain.
Oh, by the way. And so I had to check this out on a fan site. Someone pointed this out. So you remember Ken Watanabe's character from the last two Godzillas?
Yes.
The Japanese guy who ends up sacrificing himself in the
Yes, yeah.
The guy who loves Godzilla.
Yeah.
The pilot of Mechagodzilla was his son.
Are you serious?
And the only reason we know this is because in the credits he has the same last name as his father. And apparently people are saying there's some subplot that explains that he's the son and that why he's going against his father's wishes and wants to destroy Godzilla. Maybe he blames Godzilla or something. But apparently they must have dropped that because they didn't tell. The Japanese guy shows up and he's just like, later on he's like, "I'm piloting Mechagodzilla."
You know what? That makes sense. I felt as if though there were some scenes that were cut and left on the editing floor there. So that when you say that in the context of that statement, remember when Godzilla first shows up to Apex and that guy sees Godzilla? I felt like there was a little bit more there.
Yes, I agree.
So let's start with when they're transporting Kong. That scene was almost entirely rushed, right? It was just like bam, boom, pow. Like he's on the boat.
I liked. I didn't complain.
No, I didn't complain. I'm just saying. But when he's on the boat, he's on the tanker. It really starts to hit home. Like we've seen Godzilla in 2 films now, and he's an imposing force. But there was something a little bit different about when he's coming out after Kong, because it's right. You do empathize with Kong in this scenario, right? It's like he stands no chance. And when Godzilla knocks that tanker over, when he knocks that warship over with Kong still chained to it, I was like, oh, holy shit. It gave me a new perspective on the Titan battle there. Like Godzilla is protecting the Earth, and I think that's something they should have put in the story, and they kind of hinted at it. He doesn't see Kong as some lovable chimp. He's like, I'm here to kick ass, right? Like I'm here to make sure these fools stay in place. I don't have time to ask this monkey what his intentions are.
Well, I will say this. It is that if you pay attention to the last 2 Godzilla movies, you will understand Godzilla's position. But since most people are morons, they're just going to be like, Godzilla's a jerk. He's just messing up this monkey man.
No.
But the truth is that he is the king of monsters. He's in charge of the monsters. They bow to him, right? Like in The Lion King. And what it was is in the second one, King of Monsters, when Ghidorah becomes the evil tyrant monster and makes the monsters attack different cities, you see why it's so important that Godzilla's like, no, the crown is mine.
Yes.
Because he's going to be a bad ruler. Well, Godzilla can't just let this monkey be the new king. No. You're right. He doesn't know if he's going to be a good ruler or not.
Yeah, and here's also something that we're missing from King of Monsters, and this was a bit of good subplot in there. Mothra, I believe, had a calming effect on Godzilla, and this is where they didn't spend enough time building up the character of Godzilla. You can lend all these emotions to Kong, but they're very present for Godzilla as well, right? Like, I know those old Japanese films were cheesy, but Godzilla can be depicted as a creature that he clearly has emotion. right? Think back to the
Yes.
first Godzilla movie when he's like damn near dying and he has to get back up and fight that mall thing. Like, like he's clearly doing this for a reason. Think about that last moment with the Japanese character in King of Monsters when the guy goes down to detonate the atomic bomb. There's clearly a kinship between the two of them. They just didn't really hit on that. But I don't feel bad for Kong, right? And I don't feel bad for Kong in the sense that Godzilla shows up, he sees Kong strapped to the ship, and he's like, it's not my business why you're strapped to the ship. I just need to know one thing.
Are you ready to do this?
And here's the crazy thing. For all you Kong lovers, I love Skull Island. I love the chimp. Don't get me wrong. I do love Kong. Actually, Peter Jackson's King Kong is my favorite interpretation of the Kong character and the mythos there. But Kong wouldn't have made it out of that and a couple other situations in this movie without human help. Godzilla knocked that ship over, and that was it. Dude.
Yeah, so it was over. And then they let him out. If they didn't let him out, it would have been completely over. But another thing is of course, there's the big at the end. Should we skip to this real quick?
No,
obviously,
go,
there's the big help that they give him.
Yeah,
where they restart his heart.
Yeah. So,
in my opinion, the fight was over right then and there.
Yeah,
Godzilla clearly won. He was the superior warrior.
Let me emphasize your point. Kong not only, because I listened to you on Rogue tonight. Kong not only lost that fight, he was that guy that stood up. He was like, I can still go. And Godzilla's like, no, bro, you can't. And I'll skip even further to the end because I want to correct you on something. It wasn't that they were two bros that just walked away from him. Kong dropped that axe because Godzilla looked at him. He was like, you dropped that fucking axe right now.
I gotta see it again, but maybe that is how that
happened. Literally, Godzilla looked at him. He's like, "Are you still holding that thing? Don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you?"
He basically was like, "Oh, you want some more?
You think it's no?" Here's the great thing about the water fight, dude. This is my favorite part, right? It did make me feel for Kong a little bit because when Godzilla wrapped him up, I was like, "Holy shit, he's not fucking around." You know what I'm saying? Like, he's never got at any of the other. And as far, I have to go back and watch it. I don't think he's ever been that way with any of the other Titans. And so it means he did recognize Kong as a credible threat. And he did recognize, he probably was like, oh, one of you motherfuckers is still alive. I thought. You know.
No, remember.
Yeah, go for
Remember, he did at the end of King of Monsters. There were a ton of them alive.
Yeah.
But they all come to him. Bow to him after he kills Godzilla.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the Kong. I'm talking about the Kong. This was something
very. But he was like, "Oh, there's more monkeys. There's more." Didn't I kill all y'all? Did I kill? It's like just some baby girl that was sent down the river and saved from his genocide of his people.
Dude, you know what the crazy part is about that whole thing? Because this is something they fumbled really badly, but hopefully, maybe we'll get a director's cut. I doubt that WB will ever consent to anything that says director and cut ever again. But there is a portion of
they won't.
There's a portion of dialogue where the useless scientist who's on Kong's side says that there's clear evidence that there was an ancient rivalry. I'm like, is there clear evidence? Because this is the first I'm hearing of it.
Right. Oh my God, you're right. Because the other movies constantly go into the ancient peoples that worship them, and they have little pictograms and all these things. We ain't never seen a monkey battling a lizard in any of them.
No, they threw that in at the beginning.
It would be nice if they put that. Yeah, they put it in real quick. But I'm saying
yeah,
I don't know.
Dude, you know,
clear rivalry.
So Kong barely makes it out round one. We're gonna do a fight style breakdown. Barely makes it out. If it wasn't for those death charges, he's dead. That's the end of the fight.
Humans interfere to save his life.
So we move on, and they start. I wanted to ask you, what did you think about the Hollow Earth reference? Because that's actually from another storyline. That's for yeah, go for it.
Center to the journey to the center of the Earth or whatever, which is an old book, right? And it's in public domain. Anyone can use it. But this concept that the center of the Earth is the sun to an underground civilization of just animals and whatever. I love it. I really liked it. It gave our heroes something to do. The thing that I thought was weird, which I don't hold against the movie that much, is it at that point of the movie, it gets hardcore sci-fi. Like they're flying around on these like super high tech ships that they shouldn't have,
Right.
and they're in a place where gravity doesn't exist, and there's all these magical creatures, and I'm like, is this the Hobbit? And to top it off, that's where the monkey King Kong gets his freaking bone stick. Like it's an ancient sword or something. He's like, I found my father's axe. Yeah, he should have put on armor and rode a horse, the giant horse in the battle.
Dude, I do love that. So there are some things they did with the cinematography and the CGI. So when Kong gets to the gateway there and he's in the North Pole, I was like, man, that's beautifully done. Like the mannerisms are there. Like it looks like almost a lifelike gorilla, like a real life silverback trying to figure out what his new environment was. When he starts sprinting and when he starts falling to the through the gravity and the reverse gravity, thought that was beautiful. Let's get back to what the people.
Yeah, the whole world was cool.
Yeah, Hollow Earth place looks great. Let's get back to the Hong Kong shit. Now, I want to ask you something.
The Hong Kong, yeah, that battle was epic, man.
It was entirely.
There ain't nobody left alive sitting.
No, they're all dead. They're all dead.
It went OT.
Dude, but you know what the crazy part was? I actually did enjoy, like you and I had talked about this in our early predictions. I actually did enjoy finding out that it wasn't just Ghidorah or that box from King of Monsters making him go crazy. I mean, it was just Ghidorah. Godzilla probably woke up and he was like, what the fuck? I thought I killed you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just imagine if you're getting a text from your worst enemy over and over again. And then you start hearing his voice and he's just like, where is he? Where is he?
Yeah, it's not the box. Yeah, actually, well, you know what's really weird? So here's what I'm saying. Charles Dance, who was the villain in King of Monsters, was the head of the terrorist organization that stole the box.
Right.
He's also the one that bought Ghidorah's head in end credit scenes.
Right.
He's from Game of Thrones or whatever, right? He's Tywin Lannister. Great actor, great villain.
Great actor.
Wasn't in this at all.
No.
Where did he go? Where did they do with that? What's the deal?
Not even one scene, dude. Not even one scene.
Right. They could have had one scene where he should be working with them, or they kill him and they took it, or something. I don't know, man.
No, I'm in agreement with you, man. I'm actually happy we didn't get a robot Ghidorah. You know, I thought that would have been too much. Obviously, the bag was revealed for the Mecha Godzilla. A lot of plot holes, but that's not what we came here for, right? We assumed that it would be.
Don't get me started on the power source.
Oh yeah, that
is not how science works in any way. That she's like, I'll send my father a scan of the power source, and he's like, I can make this in 5 minutes in my lab.
He's like, replicated, and we're in. We hacked the mainframe.
Suddenly they have it. I thought they couldn't just have her give it to a lackey and he like take a ship and like rush it over to him.
Dude,
that made more sense.
Dude, you know what the crazy thing? Another thing about that with the upload type of network they working with, man. They're in the center of the earth, dude. There's no satellites. It's just straight.
I bet their podcast never looks grainy.
No, the lighting's always perfect. The sound is amazing.
Yeah, that's funny. It's the center of the earth, and they're getting this. This thing. No, they had to do a lot of cheesy things to keep the story going, but it just led to the next fight, and I loved it.
I was in, man. When they got the Hong Kong conflict was amazing, beautiful. Actually, you know what this movie was, man? This movie was everything that I was hoping Pacific Rim would be.
Yes. Oh, totally.
Even though I will admit their battle in Hong Kong was also dope. Go back.
You're talking about number one?
Yeah, number one. That battle was absolutely amazing, dude. Actually, there's so many great scenes in part one, but
yeah, I really like number one. I think they ruined the franchise when they changed all the characters for two.
It was stupid. It was absolutely stupid. You know, contract stuff. And the one character they bring back from the first movie is barely in the movie, and I hate when they do that.
I hate that.
So Kong essentially is now at his throne, right? He's just happens to be exactly underneath where the main conflict is going to be. But hey, we'll go for it. I guess that's why Apex built their headquarters there. Godzilla gets there, and he's obviously looking for Ghidorah, and he's like, I ate one head. Maybe that wasn't enough heads. Maybe I should have ate all three, right? Because he's clearly pissed, right? He's clearly extremely upset by this whole series of events. Sidebar: that look Godzilla gave Kong when he was laid out on the boat, when he's staring him through the debris, is absolutely gangster as hell. But Godzilla shows up. He's looking for whatever's making the sound. Realizes something's going on beneath him, and he's just like, what the fuck is going on today? Starts blowing a hole through the
That's a great scene. That's a great scene where he's like, he realizes, and he's just like, and he's like shooting a blast of atomic fire to the center of the earth. You can see how relentless he is. He's like, nothing. You think you can hide under the earth? You cannot, monkey man. You cannot.
You cannot hide from me, dude. Dude, it's like,
man, good stuff.
It's absolutely amazing, folks. And then when he sees Kong in the hole, I wish I could have. If you go back, everyone, go back and watch the movie. The exact moment Godzilla realizes Kong is down there, it's absolutely because the look in his eyes. He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
He's like, I thought I dealt with you. He's like, I should have drowned you, monkey. Yo, the water sequence. Let's go back to that real quick.
Yeah.
I loved when I will say King Kong was jumping on the boat.
That was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Like he's Donkey Kong or some shit. Like,
yeah.
And yo, they did some cool shit. Like, obviously, they always have to find a way to like put a human in a cool scene.
Yeah.
I love the fighters trying to take off.
Yes.
And he reaches for the fighter and he just misses as that guy takes off. And we see from his perspective.
Yeah.
It was really well done.
No, it was, man. Everything about that was really beautiful. That's the one thing I will say about this movie for sure. The conflict between Kong and Godzilla was epic. Like not even for the first time. That's a lie. Because I felt it when I've seen him fighting Ghidorah. I was like, oh man, this is real. Like this is as real as it gets with big monsters. But I also thought an amazing scene was when Kong was running through for lack of a better term, Middle Earth. And
Middle Earth. That's where he finds a temple dedicated to the monkeys, and his family's mystical weapon is there.
And there's multiple
straight out of Middle Earth. It was straight. You were correct to call it Middle Earth.
Dude, when he's running
There's floating rocks.
Because you have to respect. Yeah, exactly. You have to. Oh, that was a beautiful scene. We'll get to that in a second.
It was beautiful.
So he's running through, and you have to remember, Kong is he's the apex predator of his land. So he runs through. I love the fact that when he's confronted by those flying creatures, he doesn't even miss a beat. He's like, "Oh, bitches," and grabs and just starts fucking them up. But again,
why did he drink that blood when he was eating his brain? It has green blood. That's probably poisonous, man.
So it's a show of aggression. It's something. It really is. If you go watch footage on silverbacks and the things they do, like it's just like the silverback gorillas are the ultimate bros. You can they're the ultimate bros. I love the scene, folks, that Mantis and I are talking about. So there's a point where he's running and he's being drawn to the temple. He gets there and he sees that it's reversed and he can see the temple above him. And I think it was like a rock or something floated, and he watched the rock float. And I just love the genetic memory aspect of this. If that was something we can actually prove that creatures had genetic memory, that would be an amazing feat.
I mean, I believe in genetic memory.
I do too, but I also believe that the Easter Bunny shows up, but there's no proof that he's going to do that either.
There have been studies on genetic memory. This isn't some movie.
No. Oh, see, I'm going to take you back to your own show earlier. Studies until concrete evidence shows up. That's all.
You're right. You're right. That is theory.
But I love that shot when he just puts his hand up and he just floats over there. I was like, oh, that was pretty beautiful. I'm not sure Peter Jackson's going to be happy that they stole that like right out of one of his playbooks, but it was a beautiful shot, man. And then that go for it.
They stole a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, in the fight, there was the Die Hard jump. Did you notice the Die Hard jump?
Oh yeah. When he jumped off the boat, when he shoots up.
Literally a perfect frame. If you pause them next to each other, they are doing the exact same thing.
Do you know it's great when they start fighting in Hong Kong, right? So, Kong comes up, makes his way there. He's got the magic axe now, and I'm like, a part of me was like, man, he's probably going to win this fight. Now, I realized it now. I was like, oh, God, it's happening.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. And he does. He takes round 2. He's clearly, doing better on land. His maneuverability is there. He's agile.
He's hiding on the top of the buildings.
Yeah, he's quick. We get to see, and then he chops Godzilla in the head with the axe. And I was like, man, that's pretty good. He knocked. I thought he killed him at that point. Little did I know that when Godzilla got back up, he's like, I'm eating toes, I'm biting hands, any part of you I can get. I love the part where I really thought for a second he was gonna T-Rex him. Go check out Peter Jackson's Godzilla. King Kong. And he grabbed Godzilla open by the mouth and he grabbed him in the head. I was like, oh, he's gonna snap his neck now. Did you see the judoka throw that Godzilla pulled off? Bit his arm, grabbed it, and just
Yo, there's a freaking move in. Well, I don't know. It's probably in a ton of things, but there's a kung fu move that when Mecha Godzilla had his tail, and he had the drill to him. I was like, there's a move in kung fu that I'm like, I would have just done, and he would have eaten his own tail.
Who, Godzilla or Mecha Godzilla?
No, Godzilla. Because when Mecha Godzilla has the thing and he catches it, and the drill's coming for his face.
Yeah.
You bend the tail and lean it in. You know what I mean? And he didn't think to do that. I was like, come on, bro. Get your hand to hand up.
So that's the controversial part of this movie, right? So I watched one review. Godzilla has officially sunned Kong now, right? He after that throw, it was pretty much over. He hurt him pretty bad. Kong is doing bad. And then Godzilla, whose foot is enormous, puts it on Kong's chest. And he pushes his chest in, dude. It's just like, do you give up? He actually gave him a nod of approval.
He did.
Yeah.
It was respect. He's like, basically, it was like, you fought well. You've been defeated, but you fought well.
Exactly. And and that's the way it should go down. I actually love the shot of them screaming at each other. Right. Because Kong didn't bend the knee. And, when Kong tries to stand up after Godzilla starts walking off, you can tell he's basically saying, don't you walk away from me.
Don't you walk away. No, it was great. That was a great scene when he's doing that. And it's true, like, Godzilla could have killed him right there, but instead he's like, he fought well. I'm going to leave him.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave him. I'm gonna leave him to die with some dignity.
Maybe he's like, I'll let him pray to his gods, his monkey gods,
filthy, mangy monkey gods. Me. They're gonna have to go back and explain that temple because when he put his axe down, it made the sign of Godzilla. What does that mean exactly? I don't know.
Also, who built the monkey statues?
I don't know. The
people would have been like, what species down there does that?
Oh man, you know what else is messed up? They couldn't find a way to keep the Kiwis in the movie, so they just killed them all off with a storm. That's horrible.
So for all you guys who don't know, I did a watch along with my sister, which I'm going to be putting up on my YouTube channel, Voice of the Fat Mantis. And in it, I pointed out because she hadn't seen any of the others, and I was like, Kong Skull Island. The entire point of the movie was about saving this tribe. And then you're going to kill him off camera by a storm? By a freaking storm? That is disrespectful, son.
Absolutely. It's absolutely disrespectful. And then here's the craziest part about the whole Apex thing, right? I hate when they do this in stories, but I understand when they do it. So there's a scene prior to Godzilla arriving to Apex's facility in Hong Kong where they show Mechagodzilla for the first time, and you get to see him. And it's like, they got other monsters locked up. So they bring in one of the monsters from one of the main monster from Kong Skull Island. And obviously they got to have, to show you how tough Mechagodzilla is. He's got to dispatch a villain from a previous movie. This is a formula they've been following for quite some time in comic books, right, all this stuff. But stuff it's stupid, right? It's absolutely stupid. That was a complete waste of the scene. So you're telling me you've built this thing up to the point where it runs on 10% and that's all you got? That's all you got, dude. Yeah. Trillions of dollars, and this is what it does. Right. And then
who builds? I don't know who builds a piece of technology that can only work on a power source that they're pretty sure is out there. Might not be. What if you never found this stuff? You're telling me you can't power that thing? Hey, what is going on there?
Also, Why doesn't the Better Business Bureau take a look at Apex and go, "Hey, your name is really strange. Like your name is. We're not comfortable.
They're clearly up to no good. Yeah, like especially with the CEO. The CEO was just so evil. He had no story, no backstory. Yeah, it's exactly pure evil, pure evil. And also, even his daughter was pathetic.
Oh yeah. The supermodel chick. Yeah.
She had almost no part in it.
No, it made no sense.
I do love when she was killed, though.
Yeah, Kong looks in there to make sure the little girl's not in there, and he's like,
and he just go. There was no mercy. I like that. I like that there was no mercy.
So I watched a review video today of some guy who was a Kong fan, and he has a right to be a Kong fan. There's nothing wrong being a Kong fan, but basically he was like, really, even though Kong lost the fight to Godzilla, he beat Mechagodzilla, so that makes him the king. And I'm like, your math makes no sense, dude. I'm like, it makes no sense. So what he's suggesting is, since he beat Mechagodzilla, that he's the true ruler. But the problem with that theory is, like, then they have to run it back right then and there. And I'm just going to point it out to you folks. Kong dropped that axe quick, fast, in a hurry when Godzilla got back up. It wasn't like Godzilla got up and said, "Hey, thanks, man." He looked at him. He had that fucking axe in his hand. I literally spit my drink out. He's like, "Oh yeah, this thing. Sorry about that."
No, but also I don't give Kong a victory over Mechagodzilla. He could not have won without the help of Godzilla.
Yeah, absolutely.
He didn't do that on his own, so he does not get that victory. That victory is a shared victory.
Dude, you know what the crazy thing about that fight between Godzilla and Mechagodzilla was? When Mechagodzilla opened his mouth and he was about to breathe, I was like, "Oh man, he's gonna finish him with his own fatality. He's gonna century this."
Yeah,
dude,
that was definitely a fatality.
Yeah,
it was crazy. He opened his mouth so that he could freaking fire blast down it.
Yeah, that's how Godzilla finished off the moth monster.
It's a grimy way to kill somebody, you have to admit.